Okay. Our recording. How are you,
I like
Sara?
to get surprised every time we start recording.
The miracle of modern technology. You're there, I'm here. And
I know. The first day I haven't been on the site in a while.
I know. We
It's
get
right
excited by the
before.
littlest things, don't we, Sara?
What's that?
We get excited by the littlest things. Like,
I know.
look, you're on TV. You're on this Zoom thing. So it's been a big year, Sara.
It really has. Like,
Yeah.
truly. I mean, we were looking back, and we'll show some pictures in a second, but we were looking back at pictures from like around this time last year, and it was still just a lot of dirt.
Yeah.
Things that look like the beginnings of roadways, laneways, sidewalks, but for the most part, just a lot of dirt.
A lot of dirt. And now we are we're picking tiles with future homeowners and residents.
We're starting drywall in January.
Yeah.
The first building.
Yeah. It's wild. We're getting to the point where people are really starting to be like, holy crap, that's real. Like in 2016, when you said there was going to be this, you were going to build this all electric neighborhood that was powered by the sun and didn't have toxic materials. And people really questioned whether that was possible. And here we are. We're doing it. Thanks to a lot of hard work from a lot of people and people really believing in the neighborhood.
And I think people still do question whether it's possible, but I think there's just been this, like the past couple of years, I've really seen a lot more people than previous years, like really pushing for this, like other developers, residents of the city, people just across the country, across the globe, like really starting to understand that this is the way we need to be neighborhoods.
Got it. So the Paris Accords, right, said you've got to keep everything under 1.5 degrees. And that was really this profound moment of recognition of the science that was going on. But very few people asked the question, like, okay, what does that mean? What does good look like? What does sustainability look like? So Ann Arbor and Washtenaw County, around the time we proposed the project, said, okay, we're going to sign on to the Paris Accords. But there was no plan of what that meant. And that's when we kind of emerged and said, let's show you what that path is going to look like. And let's design a neighborhood that's going to meet those climate goals and sustainability goals and social equity goals and everything else.
Yeah.
So, so we're doing it. And this has been an extraordinarily profound year. We just finished COP28, the United Nations climate conference that happens periodically. This is the 28th one. And they was the first time ever that there was an acknowledgement that we have to transition away from fossil fuels. The climate community, we didn't get what we wanted, which was to say we have to have a phase out of fossil fuels. There's a lot of pushback from the oil and gas industry. In fact, the head of COP28, the president this year, was actually the head of an oil company. So there was a lot of lobbying, a lot of pushback, but in the end, the majority of nations that really understand the science and what this means said we have to move away from fossil fuels. So there is this thing.
It has to be a goal.
Yeah. So, but we're also finishing the hottest year on record ever. Climate is continuing to go in the wrong direction. CO2 emissions, greenhouse gas emissions are still going in the wrong direction. They're leveling off, but we have to lower our emissions by 43% by 2030. And
what are we on track to do?
We're on track to be plus 9%. So
that's bad.
Yeah.
That sounds bad.
So that's why the work we're doing is so damn important, because we've got to show what this alternative looks like, what this future is going to look like. And Veridian is kind of that template. I think that's what's jazzing people up. So
we broke a lot of barriers this year, I think. The other things.
You want to show some pictures and just kind of go through a best and worst of the year? Let's do it. All right. Yeah, so I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to share my screen here. And there's a lot of bad news on the planet right now, right? But at the same time, there are so many reasons to be optimistic. I mean, this was a year ago on site from the hill up at County Farm Park, where the site was just kind of staked out. So this was December of last year. It was literally just a pile of dirt. And then so many exciting things. We had the TED Global Countdown conference. Last time it was in Edinburgh, Scotland. This time, for the first time ever, it was in Detroit, Michigan. So I was super privileged to be, invited to come to this conference, and the delegates, and got to hang out and have snacks with Al Gore. And then the TED delegation actually came out to visit with us. So these were one of the Leaders Quest groups from TED that came out to look at Veridian as a model for the rest of the planet, and how we're meeting the Sustainable Development Goals. So it was pretty special. And that was me sitting next to my hero, Paul Hawken, at the TED conference. So, yeah. So what else? What are we seeing here, Sarah? What do you think?
This was fun. Geothermal boreholes.
Yep. Yeah, this was a picture because I saw this this picture here, which was a rendering of the farmhouse and what that's going to look like. And then Shannon Gibb Randall from Insight Designs, who's doing our landscape architecture, sent me out to look at some precedent images that they've done, and it was just like, no way, that's like that's. I was like, that looks just like our picture. And it's like, so it's really cool. So this is outdone.
Dixboro project,
Dixboro Road, right?
They've got like 30 names, but yeah.
And here's work starting to get
dirt bike course.
Huh?
When? What? Where was that?
That was over in the north part of the site.
There's the honey locusts.
Yeah.
Crazy.
The honey locusts there in the center, and that's my daughter and her friend Robin out on their bikes. This is our new studio that we finally moved into this year with our Bosch stove. This is when we started putting in some furniture and stuff. This was great. Do you remember this? This was from Nicole, who I met at the TED conference, and she's an international artist and really doing some of the coolest graphics. Just how we feel sometimes, like, so the we're excited, we're stressed, we're worried, but incredibly optimistic. And but the big part of it that keeps us going every day is that we love what we're doing. Do you like what you're doing? It's
so fun. It doesn't even feel like work half the time.
Really?
Unless I'm picking tile.
And this was one of the sad things that happened every once in a while. And this was one of the really sad, like, that I had to explain to my daughter why we were having these orange sunrises in May and June, where we didn't know that we were going to have these kind of climate impacts this soon, where we were, this is not a cloudy day. This was a dry day in the summertime with no clouds in the sky. And that's all smoke from the wildfires in Canada. And a huge portion of North America was on fire while we were, moving into our construction trailer and moving dirt to get to the first net zero neighborhood. What's that? You remember what this is?
Oh yeah, is that the baby one?
That's the baby honey locust.
We found a baby honey locust growing in our kind of central honey locust grove, and it was really tiny. It's probably only like, I don't know, like 1.5 feet tall, and it has these little teeny tiny spikes so that woolly mammoths or whatever don't eat it.
Mastodon.
I don't know the difference.
So Mastodon. It's very cool. And there's you, Sarah. What are you doing?
I'm being interviewed for a PBS documentary, 50 States of Sustainability, that is coming out, we think, around April, the second season. So yeah, that's Larry interviewing me.
And that's Michael?
Michael?
His name was, yes. And he is friends with 2 different people randomly who now live in Brooklyn that are both moving to Veridian. Total coincidence.
That's a small world.
I have 2 friends moving to Veridian when he came out, and he was the cameraman documentary. there's Larry sleeping.
While John's talking, that sounds right. Yeah.
John's getting ready for his interview. Yeah. And this was.
Oh, this is so cool. Oh my God, this is so cool.
First drone footages of the early eco rest are going in, and you can see foundations starting to be dug. Really, really neat. You really started seeing this take shape. And proof that we are working is going to be on
only
TV.
when cameras are around, though, apparently.
Yeah. And then I got to travel with Larry, the producer, to Wisconsin and Minnesota to see some of our suppliers. These are the folks at Snowbelt, seeing the where we get the hardwood floors from. This is Tyler Francois. His family owns some of the forests that are actually being harvested to bring wood to us. This was really cool. This was just me looking cool in some wood. These are some of the logs as they're coming into the mill. And again, these are all FSC certified. One of the cool things about it was, let me see if I can go get to it. This is, I forgot his name, but he's the forester at Snowbelt who goes out and he literally goes and tags individual trees. So the wood for the floors, the wood for our things are actually literally like almost hand selected. Why isn't this caching?
Because you don't have 10 gig internet, like we'll have it.
10 gig internet at Veridian is not available here. And again, these are some drone footages of things. Our Snowbelt hardwood. This is in Wisconsin.
Minnesota?
At Arborwood.
Minnesota.
Minnesota. I'm sorry. You're right. Minnesota, Duluth, Minnesota, where Arborwood is. And this was really incredible. We got to meet some of the professor from University of Minnesota who's really doing some incredible research on thermally modified wood. So some of our accent siding and things at Veridian are being made from the Arborwood. This I stuck in here because that's a floating barge sauna made of Arborwood that is going to be floating in Lake Superior. And these were our public sidewalks along Platte Road going in.
Yes, and, sidewalk connections.
Do you remember why that road is curved or why that sidewalk is curved?
I do remember why it's curved. That was a landmark tree just off to the left that you can't see that's got the orange construction fencing around it. And I think initially some city department, probably transportation, was told us to take the tree down so that the sidewalk could, continue. And Matt, being Matt, got everyone together and was like, basically like, why can't we come up with another solution? And so this is just the power of collaboration, rather than everybody just sort of like working in their own silo and approving things based on like their own perceived standards. An agreement was made to let the sidewalk curve around the tree, and we got to keep this beautiful tree.
Yeah, several of them. 3 bur oak trees, which is the on the seal of Ann Arbor. It's our official tree. And these are some scrap wood that I actually made this. This is our first swing. That's not the video. I thought I had the video. Yeah, it is. This is our friends coming to visit the studio. The turkeys that were all around. They were up in the trees and everything else. And this is the when the plaza started to be constructed.
Oh my God, there's a building.
Yep, a building, our porches, and our trees up along Platte Road starting to go in. Our studio, which is now moved on the other side of the property. Now we're accepting visitors. And that was the turkeys. There you go. Yeah. Oh, this was a big event. We learned how to use Instagram this year.
You did. You learned. You learned how to make reels.
Yeah. Who is this? Is this Sylvia? And
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And and you.
Bill. Yeah.
And Ching and Eileen are going to be moving in. They're really excited. This was look, and there's grandbaby.
Pat, Tammy, and Rachel and her little boy. They're moving in. They're one of the first people moving in, like the first people.
Yes. And
they just picked their tile.
and there's Jared on our swing. These are our brand new Williams Sonoma home furniture. There's the mug that I'm missing. There's my coffee.
Oh man, your Georgia mug.
What that is? Yes.
Aww.
And this is Jared and I just out taking a look and seeing what we can do with the parts of that tree. And a rainbow, of course.
Beautiful.
And there's the solar panels up on our studio. I've been charging the car from that. We started doing our countertops. We have pictures of like where we are. Oh, picking tile. The Pattersons standing in front of their hole in the ground.
Their foundation.
All the parts of their home already on site, and that's going to be going up pretty soon.
Their panels are there.
Yeah. Ooh, that's really loud. Yep. And what is this? Oh, this is Nick.
Oh, is that Nick demonstrating
our giant, big old fat windows. Fat Swedish windows.
Yeah.
Marco Brazano from DTE, who we're working with, and hopefully this year is going to have a really, really amazing proposal. We hope, fingers crossed, on helping us create a virtual power plant at Veridian, the first of its kind, and really make the neighborhood beneficial to the grid rather than a burden.
Our beautiful new workspace.
Yeah, and it's starting. Oh, and the other big thing this year is we get to go down to Sonnen in Atlanta. And visit with Blake Riquetta, the CEO, and Jeff Farrell, see their innovation center, and this is the labs where they test all the batteries and stuff that are going to be put into Veridian, and that was their leadership team. That they are so excited to be working on this project with us. It's really great, and these were students from Green Hills Schools. No, right? Is it Green Hills?
Yes, from Green Hills. Yes,
Green Hills Schools.
Yeah.
So they came out to learn about what we're doing, and work with us.
Oh.
And who's that?
That's my mom and dad and my kid. One kid.
Aww.
We had a super fun event right before Halloween where we had donuts and cider and coffee, and people got to tour through the houses, and we probably had 150, 200 people that came. It was really fun.
Yeah, cool. It was amazing. And Mayor Taylor was there.
Yep.
And there's our Swedish windows going in. These were some folks that came and toured. We had this was Kim from Urban Rider, downtown Ann Arbor, Carytown, giving some test rides of electric bicycles.
Oh, we had Tesla there. You probably have a picture. We had Tesla had some cars.
Tesla test drives while there, and the Public Service Commission.
Oh, right.
So this is our good friend Alessandra Carrion, who just became a new commissioner, and so she and Joy Wang and some other staff members came out to see what we were doing at Veridian, and what was their reaction, Sarah?
I think they had no idea that anybody was doing anything like this. They were like blown away.
Yeah, and they were really, really excited. I mean, they had an idea because we've been talking with them for 3+ years now. But now
some of the engineers that came were just like,
I
didn't realize it was like this to this extent. I mean, it was really cool.
Yeah, and then them realizing like how cool it is. And that's our panelized walls. You see, so the it's all made in the factory, and then the walls come out. This is Jared. Yeah, actually got a log that was he heard of somebody that was had a tree that fell down in their yard. He went with a buddy and some other folks and started and took the log, and he bought a hewing axe so that he can hand hew this, and he's going to make a bench for Veridian.
That's awesome.
And it's just a close up of our fire. Roofs are on now. Solar's going to be going on soon.
Oh, that's gorgeous.
This is when the one time it snowed this year. What is this, a video? Oh yeah, that's our sliding door.
Our sliding doors, yeah.
The big Funster Swedish door, which is unbelievable. And this is at night, and you can just start to imagine the Honey Locust Farm Stop and and the barn being there, and the things that we're going to be able to do, and really celebrate life as it should be. And that was, what was the question that I had sent to you, Sarah, about what is if we achieve our climate goals?
If we achieve our climate goals, what would it look like?
Yeah. And if we, it's really kind of the global community, right? And I think it's personally going to look a lot like Veridian.
I know. I started giving you this convoluted answer that really, when you boil it down, it's a lot of the things that we are doing at Veridian. It's creating places that are walkable, bikeable, socially equitable, economically equitable, all of those things. And, sometimes it takes these like really scary things to really force people to do things differently. And I think that we're at this tipping point. I really have seen it over the past, it's just really been over the past couple of years, this like much stronger push for electrification, for healthier materials and building products, for like this dramatic change to the way that we're doing everything in the construction, building, real estate, land use industry.
Yeah.
You gotta go faster.
Yeah. And it's a lot faster. And that's the thing. It's like, you see what the science is telling us that we have to do. And you see people now starting to accept what we were talking about for the past decade or more, and
or more,
7+ years now on Veridian, and saying that we have to change the paradigm. And that's not about sacrifice. It's actually about abundance and beauty. And that's what we're doing here, is really showing folks that this is not just about, we're going to take away your gas car. We're going to take away your car. We're going to take away your parking space. We're going to take away your gas stove and your, all these other things, and make your life miserable and make you put on a sweater. No, we're going to give you the cheapest form of energy in the history of humanity, of solar energy. We're going to store that in batteries. We're going to create clean air for you by eliminating all the emissions. We're going to create a healthy environment by only using materials inside of your home that are void of all toxic materials. We're going to create a safer environment where materials that are natural take longer to burn. So simple things like that. We're going to create a world outside where there's no compressors, where there's no anthropogenic sounds that are made by humans. Light pollution. We were talking the other day about how, 150 years ago, virtually every human on Earth on a clear night saw the Milky Way. And today, most American children have never seen the Milky Way.
Right.
And that's because of the light pollution and the way we create the built environment, and just in these small little details that Veridian is doing, where we're eliminating compressors from the outside so that we don't have these sounds created by humans. And then insects and birds can nest in the evening and during the day and hear each other. And we're minimizing light on the outside of all kinds. And putting everything on timers so that you can see the dark sky. So again, that other creatures, not just humans, create a more beautiful environment, but they can sleep at night. They can breathe. They can experience the night in the trees and in the sky above them in a time when we were all of nature. Right? And that's kind of what we really want to do at Veridian again, is make a built environment that is of nature. And so I'm really looking forward to the things to come.
2024 is going to be an even bigger year than 2023 for Veridian, hopefully beyond Veridian.
Kick ass. And all of those goals and all of those agreements that they made in COP28, it's not going to be done by by industries. It's not going to be done by corporations. It's not going to be done by governments. It's going to be done by the people who are working in this every single day to change it. All of our partners at Bosch and Kohler and Ferguson and Williams Sonoma companies, and all of our local folks here, our urban Sawyers, our entire team at Thrive and all of our partners and the people in the community that are really patient with us, trusting of us, and really committed and passionate and excited about living at Veridian. So,
and our ambassadors.
And their ambassadors. Yeah. So 2024 is the year of move-ins.
Yay!
The year we teach more of the world about what we're doing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. You ready for the holidays?
I think so.
Okay. Well, let's go do it. Let's do
it.
All right.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Happy holidays, everyone.
We'll see you in 24.